Okay, we're gonna switch our position a little bit here. You can bring, and I'm just gonna turn to the side, but you can feel free to stay facing the direction you are. So I'm bringing the bottoms of my feet to the mat in front of me. Knees together, again, firmly planting through the sitting bones and taking the hands behind you. A slight turn out of the fingers is nice if you're a little tighter in the joints of the wrists, shoulders, or elbows. Just find a position that's comfortable for you. Notice again the back of the soft palate. I'll just kind of demonstrate externally here where that is. You're imagining a lengthening upward towards the sky with that space to naturally elongate this connection, this line between the 2 points. Draw the tops of the shoulders back, or tops of our shoulders right here. And again, just find a position of the shoulders that doesn't create strain or effort, right? So maybe you're going up a little, down a little, just settle in. Take about 3 to 4 more breaths here, in and out through the nose, maintaining that whispering breath. You can feel the expansion of the chest on the inhale, especially lifting the center of the collarbones, lifting the front ribs a little bit. On the exhalation, a gentle squeeze between the shoulder blades, and maybe even a feeling of pushing down or grounding into the earth through your hands, or maybe the floor, through your hands, through your knuckles, through your fingers, right? Spreading that energy. Again, just tapping into the body. If you want to go a little further with the stretch for the last breath or two, you can scoot your hips a little further forward. Again, just find that relationship from base to top of the spine. Very important relationship. Oh, hello, Daddy Longleg. I found a new space to practice here, so we're exploring what all of the little creatures of nature that are going to join us today are doing too. So thanks for joining me with all of this new excitement. Okay, if your hips were pretty far forward, you're getting a deep stretch in the chest here. Just move back a little bit. Okay, back into the grass with you. And then release the hands, shake it out a little. We're next going to come down onto our mat. So make sure if you do have your block, or if you've got a rolled up mat, a rolled up blanket, just set them towards the back of the mat so they're easy to reach for. I'll put them on this side so you can see me here. I'm going to scooch forward so I got plenty of space, either supporting myself with my arms or using my core gently rolling down. Okay, we want to set our feet in front of those sitting bones. So you can notice again the sitting bones, maybe even feel them with your fingers. The heels directly in front. The second and third toes are just your toes pointing straight ahead. So this gives us a nice balanced alignment through the joints of the lower body. Going to help us to stay safe with our muscles, keep us kind of working towards that idea of integration. You can take your block if you have it. The middle width here is how I orient it to keep my thighs kind of the width of my hip joints. Now if you have wider thighs or really narrow hips, you might find adjusting the block to a different position helps you. That's totally fine. Again, make it your own. Okay. As we're ready, we're just going to let the head come to the mat. And I want you to feel here again the body grounding down. So notice your shoulders, back of skull, back of pelvis, even the feet gently settling in. Let's again breathe in that same fashion. Think of the breath flowing down towards the bottom of your body as you breathe in. And as you exhale, you're going to squeeze that block very lightly. And as you squeeze the block, you'll actually notice there's a tightening or an activation of our inner thighs. There's also an energy at the base of the pelvis, our pelvic floor muscles. We call this, again, mula bandha, this connection. It even goes deeper than the physical, but we can feel it in the physical sense of contracting lightly the inner thighs, the pelvic floor. So as you find that, again, on the exhale, you might even notice naturally it creates a slight lift, as though the bottom of the pelvis, we're going to start to curl up away from the earth. On your inhale, let go of the squeeze, and you'll find, again, gravity is our friend, right? It just helps us to naturally relax back down. You can even let the lower back kind of naturally arch off the ground if that feels comfortable. If there's strain there, go easy on that. So again, we're using our breath, being conscious, being present. It's another important component to Kriya Yoga is that we're trying to focus that flow of our mental energy, right? So as best you can, concentrate on that point. Squeeze the block if you need to. Feel the point lift on the exhalation and let it go on the inhale. Just a few rounds. Now you might find that certain muscles turn on, like your butt, your hamstrings, your lower back. That's okay. If you want to use a visualization from the pubic bone, the front of the pelvis, to our belly button, we can imagine a connection there as well, a little line or something that you're drawing inward towards the center of your body, right? And that'll turn on those lower ab muscles for us, just start to remind those muscles to wake up and help support this action. Okay, start to explore a little more depth to this movement. So now I'm going to lift the bottom of the bowl, almost as though someone had a string and they're lifting the bottom of your pelvis up towards the ceiling or towards the sky, wherever you're practicing. You're going up as high as comfortable, again, just noticing what comes up. Maybe eventually finding a straight line from the knees to the shoulders, If you can go there, great. If not, that's fine too. Just wherever you go is fine. Inhale to release back down, and exhale to take it up. And our practice, again, much less about expectation, right? We don't care if it's perfect. We don't care if it's easy or hard, but we want to notice what arises. Do you feel tension in different spaces of your body? Are there parts of the spine that clump up or feel like they're stuck together? Are there parts of the body that really feel a lot of effort here? When you get to the bottom, can you relax those spaces? Just feel, again, a softness, a surrender, a release. Right? That's the component, again, that we're connected to what's around us, right? So we don't always have to hold on for dear life. We can trust sometimes, we can let go. Notice if that's easy for you, if it's hard for you, that's, again, okay. Last round, we're gonna lift up. Again, just find whatever extent of lift works for you. Hold it there. If you find your way all the way up, you can, again, ground through the backs of the shoulder blades, shoulders, arms, create a slight reach through the back of the soft palate to lengthen the spine, engaging, again, that energy that's gonna flow through our center. Hold for 3 more breaths. Think of a perfect balance to the lift of your root, as well as to the grounding or the release into the earth or the floor through whatever's touching it. Now, our bridge pose is actually an inversion because we're lifting the root of the body upward and we're letting the top of the body drop towards the earth. And that doesn't have to be forceful, doesn't have to be effortful, but just notice what that creates. On your next exhalation, slowly release back down. Very good. We'll do one more thing here with the block, and then we'll kind of loosen up. So on your next exhalation, if it's comfortable, and if, again, there's strain or pain in the hips or the lower back, you can keep your feet grounded for this. That's a nice modification. Those of you ready, on the exhale, lift the feet up, head still on the mat, just relax. Those of you that are pretty open and want to feel a little more energy with this, you can send the bottoms of your feet straight up towards the ceiling or towards the sky. Because my thighs are vertical here, and we don't want those thighs to necessarily come more towards the upper body than that, or else that's just going to put more effort into our hip flexors, an area that's usually pretty tight for most people anyways. So just keep that in mind. I'll help to kind of support you through the action as we can kind of counteract that. So next step is to take the hands lightly behind the head, elbows wide. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Excuse me. If you don't have your block, you can take your mat, give it a nice hug. Ugh. We're gonna fold it over and put it just like so. So, sorry for the delay on that. Maybe I'll edit it later and you can go back to it. But anyway, so we're here, block, rolled up mat, whatever you have, hands behind the head. Now we're soft through the shoulders. We're gonna, again, think of relating these 2 points, base and top of the spine. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, squeeze, find that energy at the root and begin to lift up. A slight lift. As the root lifts, the top of the spine lifts about the same amount. We find just this nice inverted cat pose, or you can think of it like a little crunch. You're inhaling to release back down. Squeezing, lifting on the exhale. Make sure you don't hold the breath. That kind of limits the ability for the abdominal muscles to engage with this. Not that we're forcing that, but you'll definitely notice it starting to happen. Again, pubic bone draws to navel, so those lower abs start to wake up, and you're soft through the face and the jaw. Try a few more rounds, inhaling to release. Again, if the legs are straight, as you exhale and lift up, you're reaching towards the ceiling. If you find those thighs coming towards your upper body in either position, just push the heels forward, right? Be present, do the best you can to keep that vertical alignment. 2 more rounds, exhale to lift. Hold at the top for just a moment, and then release, let it go. 1 more, inhaling. As you exhale, squeeze the root, lift the top of the spine, and then let it go. Take the block or the blanket, rolled up, whatever, out. Hug the knees into the chest. And just give yourself a little rock side to side. Deep breaths here. You can also move the thighs around in a nice big circle. One of my favorite kind of forms of movement to open up the hips. Return the feet to the mat. Reach your hands up and grab hold of opposite elbows. So with this one, we're gonna drop the arms to one side, to the right or to the left. Just let the knees fall in the opposite direction. Nice deep breath in there. As you exhale, maybe you imagine that line in the center. It's like our axis, right? That our body is rotating around just like the globe spins around its axis. Inhale, go to the other side. Exhale, bring it back. Take a few rounds back and forth, really simple. We call these the Windshield Wipers, just easy variation. I'm just gonna turn back so you can see. So I'm gonna keep my feet that same hip distance and let the legs just move independently of one another, right? If we bring our feet together, that kind of does something a little different. So for this one, just for ease sake, you're keeping it nice and relaxed. A couple more breaths side to side, take your time. Okay, when you're ready, on an exhale again, you'll draw the knees in towards the chest. Now you can give yourself a little rock back and forth to come up to a seat, or just roll over to one side, use your hands and help yourself back up.